Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first episode ever of Bar Talk. I am joined here with my wonderful, wonderful compatriots, Caleb.
What's
Say
up?
hi.
Two of you both greeted yourself when I said Caleb.
I told him
The
to
other
say
guy
hi
there
because
is
he
Yeah.
waited like
AJ.
10 seconds to
Say
say
hello,
something.
AJ. It's your
Hi,
turn now.
I'm me. Thanks.
I thought he was gonna introduce you like right after. I didn't know he was gonna introduce me, then you. My bad.
Okay. I myself am Connor, and together we are Bar Talk. Here to talk about all the cool random stuff that you usually hear around a bar, small talk, those talks you get into when you have a couple drinks in sometimes. But either way, we have a very, very interesting topic to talk about today. So, what do you get when you get official United States Air Force research and crackpot ideas about flying saucers? Well, you get Project Bluebook. So, Caleb, why don't you go ahead and start us off on talking about what exactly Project Bluebook is?
Yeah. Quick rundown. Minute. Probably. Some of y'all have heard of the Project Blue Book show on Amazon Prime. It's basically I think it's like 2 or 3 seasons. But it basically goes around the time of the Russian, I think it was Russian Cold War or something like that. It was between 1950s and the 1970s when tension between Russia and America was pretty high. But they were doing the Air Force was doing a lot of um, you know high technological experiments with their aircrafts and other devices. And so, what many people around who are living around the Air Force bases um, got them mixed up with extraterrestrial intelligence. So, the whole point of Project Blue Book was designed by the Air Force. It was comprised of a civilian doctor from a college and I believe it was either a lieutenant or a sergeant from the Air Force who was actually a pilot and had supposedly had one of these experiences. He was flying one time and he thought he saw like a few glowing orbs fly past him, but there have been studies shown that pilots flying under high stress, especially by themselves when they've been training for long hours at a time, they start hallucinating, and so it hasn't really been proven. And back in that time, there really wasn't that many cameras on those jets. But now we have cameras so we can spot them. Anyway, basically their whole mission was to go out to these sightings or supposed sightings, investigate, and basically prove that there were no such thing as extraterrestrial intelligence. Um, let's see, from the year 1947 to about the year of 1969, there were supposedly around 12,610 um, sightings, and within that time span, there were around 700 that were unidentified, meaning basically that investigation was never closed, and weren't able to they weren't able to come to a conclusion. Um, and so, yeah, that's basically what the whole Project Blue Book was about. There were a few cases, like in the show, where this alien would appear out of the woods, and the civilians would see them, run away, or shoot at it. That's obvious, it's most likely drama just added to the show for extra effects and extra audience. However, I don't think that's accurate. And then with like the blue orbs like flying past and the um, pilots' cameras catching them, like I said, the pilots didn't have cameras on all their jets at that time, but there were some that had cameras on their jets, and so those who did and saw the orbs, it could have been alien life, but at the same time, the camera quality could have been,
Mm.
extremely poor, and it could have just been a glare from passing other planes or on the ground with flying at night. AJ is in the military, and I'm sure he'd be able to back me up on this. Military cameras back then and even now haven't always been proven to be as accurate.
No, they're pretty terrible, to be honest.
Yeah. So wouldn't you agree? Like, say a pilot who's flying at night over a city and it's raining, and has been flying there for a few hours, sees these orbs fly past, and then the uh, scientists or whatever check it out on the cameras. Couldn't that just be like a glare from the camera footage?
Well, it could be like a glare, a video glitch. As someone who's flown around a lot in the daytime and at nighttime, long distances, flying at night's pretty surreal. So doing it for a really long time, you can kind of get into your head that the lights on the ground or lights from the stars or whatever just look like they're moving around, and it's all kinds of funky stuff going on. Like
Yeah,
it's very possible that it's just a complete glitch and doesn't like make any sense. At least from the video that I've literally watched before we started. Um uh cuz like a lot of um a lot of alien sightings have either been debunked or shown to be like normal technology.
yeah,
It's also important to note that during the time of the Cold War, our military and especially the Air Force weren't so much focused on putting cameras pointing at the sky
Mm.
yep,
and cared more about pointing cameras on the ground. For instance, we
Yeah,
have
that's true.
the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, which AJ,
Mhm.
I'm sure you know what that is.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a pretty advanced reconnaissance vehicle, which was used to take pictures. I think that was actually the vehicle that was used to take pictures of Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis, right?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
Yeah, so obviously due to priorities, of course funding, for the best equipment and the best cameras is going
Mhm.
to go more towards our already known adversaries, which was the Soviet Union,
Mhm.
instead of trying to focus in on, you know, lights and the dancing around in the sky.
Yeah, we could
yeah,
all sing "Kumbaya" to the dancing lights or focus on our enemies.
yeah,
Well, I think also, like well, maybe during the Cuban Missile Crisis was the U-2 spy plane, I don't know, because I think those are older. Yeah.
yeah. There was.
But sorry, continue.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, in terms of like those orbs that those pilots reportedly saw, like
Mhm.
going several strikes of lightning hit in the exact same area, creating a ball of lightning. And it could have, these balls of lightning, can travel a few feet, even a few, several yards. But I highly doubt that even if it was a ball of lightning, there'd be multiple same area.
Yeah, well, there can be. It's a weird phenomena that, has been recorded and documented on YouTube and such. Um, and I think they can form up to, like, 5 of them, but, like, at a time, and there's also, like I think there's videos of, like, 2 of them forming or 3 of them forming or 1 of them just rolling across the ground like some crazy crap. Um, it's it's pretty wild. I mean, I can pull up a video and share it with you guys if you want,
Yeah.
if I can find one.
And then I know nowadays, like, there's, videos posted online, like, everywhere, of these so-called aliens or so, like, seen through the sky in civilian aircraft, but I'm almost certain that these are just really, really good edits because with the technology we have now, we can pretty much put in anything we want. So it becomes, you know, highly untrustworthy now, but back then they didn't really have that software. So if anything was seen, it was a little bit more believable.
Mm.
Just about anybody with an iPhone can doctor up any footage to put something there that wasn't originally. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that's a good point.
And there are,
Now it's
plenty of
interesting because we all here we're obviously talking about you know how there's a lot of phenomena that people see that of course we should be skeptical of, and we can't believe everything we see at first glance. Uh, you actually brought up how there was somebody on Project Blue Book that was kind of a skeptic at first, right? Are you
yeah.
talking about Mr. Hynek?
Yeah, so, um, yeah, he was
Hey, can you
quite.
give me yeah,
Huh?
give us some background on this guy because I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, so the doctor, right?
Uh,
So he was quite skeptical. The Air Force was the one who wanted him to come on to their project because he had some, you know, some knowledge of the outside world and different phenomena based on his studies he did. Um, but he was brought on, and he wasn't really sure what he would do, even if he decided to go on fully and go to these investigations. But as he was going to these investigations, as seen in the show, um, his skepticism slowly turned into a little bit of belief and even still uncertainty. Basically, I think there was this one scene in the show. Um, I'm
uh,
highly certain it was just in the show and not in real life, but there was these like five orbs that flew over like Washington D.C. While they were there. They saw it, and I'm almost certain it's just for the show. But even still, they came to the conclusion that it was just some sort of other phenomena.
mm.
But how could it be when it was blue sky in the scene? And
Yeah, I mean, to say something about that, apparently those were a real thing that happened because it's been multiple. That's in the Air Force's or the Pentagon's 2021 UFO report.
oh, so that
Um,
was like a legit
yeah.
thing that happened.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess I do have a bit of skepticism. Like whenever the government or some organization contracted by the government creates organizations and project groups for these investigations, my theory is that the reason they're saying there's no such thing out there is because they don't want the public to know what is actually out there, even if there is extraterrestrial intelligence, because they don't believe that that civilians in the rest of the world are, not ready to handle these facts and truths.
Yeah.
Which I kind of agree because imagine you wake up tomorrow and on the news or like Fox News or something like that, the
Hmm.
broadcasters are like, uh, "Yeah, there's been a UFO, and it's a legit UFO, spotted
Yeah.
over Jacksonville City or any other city, and these life forms are coming down from it." The I'm almost certain the world would go into chaos, even if it
Well,
was just in
yeah.
one spot.
And also
Remember
with all
that
these UFO or I think they call them UAP sightings, unidentified something object
phenomenon.
phenomenon. Yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenons. Like they're objects,
Yeah.
but there has never been any life form associated with them. Like they tend to find them around. They tend to find them a lot around military bases, just because there's a lot of radar and detection equipment around. But there is a uniformity to them, but there's no like real life form or um what am I trying to think of? There's nothing like associated with them. There's just like objects in the sky and
Yeah.
there's nothing coming out of them. I feel like it would be incredibly interesting though to like be like breaking news this day in year 20XX. Aliens are real. Find out more later at 7 p.m. tonight with fucking who knows? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that the term we are using here is UFO, unidentified flying object. So the
Mhm.
Pentagon can come out and speak before Congress saying that they have released new footage or new files of studying UFOs. But again, remember the term they're using, unidentified flying object. They can say that they see these things all the time, but they're unidentified. Now it would be a completely different ball game if whichever lead general of the Air Force comes out and says, "Yes, we have sighted an alien spacecraft." They're not gonna come out and use those that type of terminology
Yeah.
unless it's like for a
No.
fact and there's no way that they could hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, about these, like, unidentified flying objects is, like, many things can get, confused for them, like, especially now, like, like, drones, like, the DJI drones and all that crap. Like, anyone can get a drone, and in a certain situation, somebody from far away who sees that could technically, think it's like a UFO or like alien life, and I can actually back them up because like when I was taking my dog out the other night, it was kind of like almost foggy outside, and this was around Christmas time, so it was a few days ago, but it was a little bit cold and it was a bit foggy, and I look across the pond from our house and I see, no joke, these three lights go up and then like go up a few hundred feet and then spread out into a triangle. I thought I was, tripping balls. I was like, was there something in my drink somebody put in? Um, and then after a while, I noticed that there were some, people standing around and looking up and holding something in their hand. And so I was like, oh, okay, they're just, doing
Oh,
drones.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
no joke, for a second there, I thought I was losing my crap. I was like, "Holy crap, I'm talking about how I don't believe this stuff, and it's, like, actually right in front of me." And then it's just, your point of view, and after a while from staring at it, by the way it moved, I was like, "Yeah, it's just a drone."
Oh my gosh, did someone spike my drink with LSD? I'm seeing lights in the sky. Dancing lights in the sky.
Yeah,
Oh
Government
god.
MK Ultra project.
yeah, like, no joke, like, there were 3 lights that went up into, like, a triangle mode, and I literally stood there speechless, my jaw dropped, and, like, my dog was just wandering around, and I was like I thought I was about to pass out, and I was like, "Holy crap," and then I was like, "No, no, no, get your senses together," and I looked down, and I saw these people, looking up, holding something in their hand, and I was like, okay." Alright. I thought everything I was going to say in the next few days, was gonna be proven wrong, but yep, just a bunch of drones.
So
Yeah.
AG actually brought up something very interesting. He talked about how the majority of sightings of UFOs was near air bases, and he said the reason for that because they have a lot of radar for detection. Apparently, during Project Bluebook, they also had quite a lot of sightings near bases that held nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah.
would nuclear
Yeah.
silos and locations like that have a lot of radar around them as well, or are they trying to be more incognito when it comes to silo sites?
I think it's more like detection systems, but I think it's also with like radar and lidar and whatever else because they're trying to protect those systems, right? It's a passive radar, or it could be active radar as well. Because if someone's trying to shoot your nuclear missile silo before you can shoot off your nuclear missiles, you want to keep that from happening. So they probably got all that detection equipment out there.
So it would be a pretty big deal if something that was unidentified just floating above a nuclear base and there's nothing you can really do about it because it's gone by the time you see it. That clearly would give cause for concern for the United States, right?
Yeah, because if you can't see your enemy,
Yeah,
um, and they have a technology that is well above what you can even comprehend, that's pretty bad.
yeah. Now, in terms of not being able to see your enemy, I know I forgot what it was called. I was doing it for a school project, when I was
Mm,
in high school, but, there was this,
okay.
battleship, I think it was, like, post World War II or something like that, where they were, experimenting full on, invisibility.
Mm.
Basically, have you guys ever seen, like, Avengers where the Quinjet or something like that. They
Yeah.
have, like, these, mirrors that, reflect, whatever's on the bottom so it looks like it's invisible.
Mhm.
So, they actually have the same idea for this, battleship, and I'm not sure if it's real or not. It could be, or it could just be some, crazy enthusiast getting stories mixed up. But basically, it was this battleship that used technology like that, and
Mhm.
it looked straight on invisible, which is kind of freaky. And
Wait, what video is this?
it wasn't a video. It was an article I read. It was basically this
Oh.
battleship used that kind of like the same technology as the Quinjet, and went
Mm,
full on invisible from the naked eye, as well
damn.
as from the radar.
Wait, so what article was this?
I don't remember, but
Was it in the Navy?
I
Did
th-
you do that?
I think it was. But if you look up
Okay.
invisible like battleship or destroyer or something like that,
Yeah,
It
it'd
it's
probably
a
be a
really weird
destroyer.
story. Like, it was a really real weird story, and apparently there were, like, 2 sailors on board, that while they were using this technology, apparently they, like, jumped into the future or something,
Yeah.
which was weird, and,
Mhm.
they actually got stuck there for a little bit and then came back to the exact same, time zone. That I'm not entirely sure, actually happened,
Yeah,
um,
probably not.
but
I
the
would say I'm highly
story.
skeptical of that they saw the future.
Yeah, yeah. There
Weirder
had
shit has happened.
there have been plenty of stories, like, in
Mhm.
terms of seeing extraterrestrial intelligence, and these people are able to prophesize certain events because of these, personal experiences that, I'm not entirely sure of. But in those situations, you have to actually experience it to believe it. And,
Yeah.
you can't really prove to anybody else because it's, only you are able to see it, and, seeing is believing and all that crap.
So I've never heard of
Mhm.
the military trying to make uh, invisibility for battleships, but I'm pretty sure they've already done that for aircraft, right? Like the what is it, the B-2 stealth bomber, that
Yeah,
plane that looks like a giant V shape almost.
Oh, yeah, the that's technically not invisibility, it's radar invisibility because obviously you're still gonna be able to see it. But, what it does is the paint does is it absorbs the radar signal, so that way it doesn't bounce back and give off its location. All it does is absorb as much of the radar signal that it can, and it only gives back, like, some specks that kind of, like, flit around, the screen. So um, it's not like true invisibility, it's like radar,
invisibility.
misdirection, yeah.
And I think
I
I'm
see.
pretty
Exactly.
sure the, F-35 has that as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different type of coating. I don't think it's actual coating, I think it's a material that's part of the plane now, but, I can't remember exactly, what it's called, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
um
But, yeah, it's like technology like that. I'm pretty sure, the military has obviously been trying stuff out like that, because in cases of, like, a
Mhm.
world war, it would be perfect, to be able to sneak into another enemy territory and then, surprise them without actually having to go through the front lines.
Yeah. It'd definitely be that's exactly what they're trying to do, though. They're because like, anti-aircraft systems are so advanced these days that aircraft have to do everything they can to basically be invisible
Yeah.
and, do their best to not be seen on the radar. Because as soon as you're seen on radar, that's it. Like, you're dead,
Oh, yeah.
basically. There's, like, the missiles that China, Russia, even though Russia is kind of like the that
Yeah,
China has and that we have and that, the EU have are all really good and their radar systems are all really great as well. But if you can trick the radar into thinking that you're not there or jam it somehow,
yeah.
then that's your survivability because it doesn't matter. If you get hit with a missile, you're screwed. It used to be like you'd get hit with tons of bullets and then you might be okay, you might not, but
Oh, yeah.
missile's gonna knock you out of the sky regardless.
Oh, for
So
sure. Have you
so it's
guys
basically about um, uh, it's about keeping yourself from being seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys heard of the EA6B Prowler?
EA6B Prowler.
So
Maybe I'm trying to think of.
So
Uh, yeah,
basically,
tell
what it
us.
is, it's a plane that is basically its main purpose is to jam enemy radars, and so
Mhm.
that was actually my part of my dad's job in the Navy. In the
Oh wow.
very beginning of his career, he was a navigator. The EA-6B Prowler, it's a four-seater. You have the pilot, co-pilot, and you have a navigator, and you have
Hmm.
I forgot what the fourth person role was, but basically,
Probably the radar person who did all the jamming.
yeah. Except I don't really know the exact
The
term.
title of the position. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but basically, no, I can't really tell you all the stories, but basically, their job was to go in and jam the necessary enemy radar for
Yeah.
the troops to sneak past and all that.
Hmm.
Um, so I think there was one incident where they actually came back with a hole in their wing. They were
Oh wow.
shot at by I think it was a you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a double A gun.
Oh yeah, that'd be yeah, AA gun,
Yeah.
anti-aircraft. Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, they were shot at. That was the only um, like shot at time that I think my dad has ever experienced. But yeah, they were able to make it back
Mm.
to the carrier with a hole in their wing.
oh wow,
I bet.
that's crazy.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. Like, I don't mind flying, but at the same time, if I were to die, I'd rather be on the ground because
Mhm.
I'd rather be on the ground, and if I'm dead, I'm dead, rather than being shot at and falling 30, 40,000 feet straight from the air and being like, "Oh, crap."
But yeah, because then if you're on the ground, you could at least maybe survive if you got shot. If you're in the air and you got shot, then
Oh, yeah, you're screwed.
yeah. Unless you got like some kind of parachute or something, or like a one of those flight suit things, you're just yeah, you're gone. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's why I'm like, I'd rather like, even same with the ocean,
mhm.
I'd rather, somehow die on the ground than, either drown or be shot at or, fall out of the
Yeah,
sky.
yeah, no, because no, getting drowning is I think the second worst way to die besides being burnt alive, and then falling out of the
I've drowned,
sky.
and I can concur that drowning
Mhm.
sucks.
Ah,
Why, have you had that experience before?
Yes,
my God.
I'm
Oh,
trying to
dear
think of a
lord.
way to intertwine aliens into the story, but I can't. But anyways, I was in Hawaii with my family on vacation, and I was swimming in this bay, but
Oh,
the bay
wave
was
got you?
really shallow. Like it was just a tourist spot, and there was coral everywhere. Like most of the coral in Hawaii is molten. It's created by all the molten activity. So I'm swimming out there, and I'm getting to a part where I can actually walk on all this coral rock,
Mm.
Oh,
and
coral
I end
hurts.
up falling between two cracks. My leg gets stuck in there,
Ooh,
and I am now submerged underwater, unable to get my leg loose. And basically, every time the waves are breaking, they're breaking right into my face. So even if the water is able to go below like my nostrils or my mouth, every time I'm gasping for air,
Yeah.
another wave crashes right into my mouth.
ooh,
Ugh.
Uh, yeah, that was the first time in my life where I had, the primal fight or flight moment. The
yeah,
moment where the wolf decides it's gonna chew off its own leg to escape thing, and I
Yeah.
yanked my foot and my leg out of that, little crack I found myself in. I was tearing up my leg just to get out of there,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
luckily I was able to get out. It wasn't easy, but I was able to swim back to shore, and after that I I stayed on the beach and didn't go back in the water.
No, no,
Yeah.
I can see why.
Or,
But
Yet
yeah,
I still love the ocean.
you remember
yeah.
which, beach it was in Hawaii?
It was I can't remember specifically which beach it was, but I remember that it was on the island of Kauai, which is one of the smaller islands.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I lived there for,
Yeah.
3 years. That's, one of the, spots my dad was stationed at.
Is it
But
Hawaii?
yeah, it was Oahu. Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's a horrible place to live, amazing place to visit. But basically, I can concur for
Oh,
Connor because there's this beach called the North Shore, and the average
mhm.
wave height would be like about 5, 6 feet on a bad
Damn.
day, and it would get anywhere up between like 10, 12 feet high. And
Wow.
so we were there, and there's this one time where I got in. I think it was like my first or second time going to the beach,
Mhm.
and there was this wave that came at me, and I didn't see it. Lost my
Yeah.
balance, and flipped over. Did like a somersault underneath the water. Then I stood up, got
Mm,
hit again. My back hit the sandbar, and
damn.
kind of got the wind knocked out of me underwater. So technically, I wasn't
Mhm.
drowning, but I felt close like I was going to, and it was hard to get back up after a while. But
Oh, I
I
bet.
yeah, I can definitely relate to what kind of what Connor was going to, except thankfully I wasn't stuck. So
Yeah. Connor, how do you get yourself in such life and death situations? Like, you've told me about at least 3 so far.
wait, what are the other two?
Well, I told him about two. I don't know about a third, but there was the
I don't
one
know
where I
either.
almost got killed by coyotes, and
Holy crap,
now you know about my
That's enough
drowning
story.
story.
buddy!
Yeah,
Are you trying to get yourself killed?
that's what I'm saying, man. Like,
You
what are you
feel most
doing?
alive when you're inches away from death, my friend.
I mean, you're not wrong, but, like, gosh, you gotta calm down. You gotta
Wait,
calm down with
Say
that.
right now that I never
Mhm.
meant to put myself in these situations, and I do not condone actively putting yourself in dangerous situations for no reason.
wait,
Don't actively try and get yourself killed, kids. It's not
Don't
worth
try and
it.
drown.
yeah, no, yeah,
Don't stuff
Don't
your
try and
pockets with
drown.
rocks or
or
some,
get eaten
wear
by
cement shoes
coyotes.
and go swimming.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wait, did you like? I do have a question. Like, did your life flash before your eyes both times?
Um, I
Shouldn't
definitely I was at a younger age when I almost drowned,
Mhm.
so I didn't have a whole life. I didn't have a whole lot of life to flash through my eyes.
That's so
I was
sad.
definitely freaking out. I do remember trying to scream for help, but every time, again, the waves would crash on top of my head. So it was kind of like, I couldn't say anything. The second time, though, with the coyotes being chased by those, little mutts, I definitely had a whole life flash before my eyes. Like, this is it. I'm gonna die. This is it. Like, I'm gonna run as far as I can, see how much distance I can get, or I'm gonna fight these things with my pocket knife and my walking stick, and at least see how many I can kill before I finally give out.
Please,
There was never a moment where I gave up, where I just, laid down and, you know, made sure my neck was presentable so that they could kill me cleanly.
please tell me
No,
you
I
did the
definitely was
second
in
thing.
survival mode. Like, I'll tell you right now, even the most depressed person in the world, if they're put in a situation like that, they're gonna do everything in their power to survive.
Oh yeah, for sure. Please tell me you did the second thing. I can only imagine you grabbing one wolf or one coyote by the neck and the other just like stabbing away and then hitting one with your stick.
So what originally happened was I was walking on a trail during an off season, so all the trails
Oh, that's
were
right.
empty. There was nobody around. The camp that I parked my car at, there was no cars there. Nobody was camping there. It
Ooh,
was actually like around this time of the year, so
Hmm.
close to New Year's.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was New Year's Eve day that I decided to go hiking. So nobody's out there. I'm already miles away from civilization,
that's
and I'm
smart.
Mhm.
miles further because I'm walking on this trail away from anyone and everyone. So even if I tried to scream for help, nobody's going to hear me
Yeah.
except for the squirrels and the coyotes actively trying to kill me. So
Yeah.
I'm walking on
Well,
this
yeah,
trail
you
and
don't want them to hear you.
I start hearing howling coming from my left, and then almost as if in a call and response, I hear howling
Mhm.
from my right,
Oh,
and suddenly they start getting closer, and the howling turns into aggressive barking, and I realize I think they know I'm here.
yeah.
So I turn tail and I'm trying to walk at a fast pace but not run because the trail's covered in leaves, and I know that that would just give away
Uh,
my position.
yeah, you're
I
right.
waited for
Yeah.
every time the wind blew through the trees, which made a lot of noise, to actually run. So every time
Mm,
the wind stopped blowing, I had to go back to a fast paced walk, which was the most nerve wracking thing in the world. But
mm,
uh, eventually, they just stopped chasing me. I think what
mm.
happened was they probably had cubs near them, and they figured
Oh,
that I was a predator in their vicinity, and they were just trying to get any predator away from their cubs.
that's
Because if they were
possible.
like hungry and actively trying to find a meal, they wouldn't
Hmm.
stop. They would come and get me. But
Probably.
coyotes aren't known for like actively hunting human beings. They
Mm,
will be aggressive towards human beings, and if they have numbers, then they will get the idea that they can overtake you. Which I'll tell you right now, from the amount of barking and howling I heard, they
yeah,
definitely they definitely have the numbers.
yeah. It sounds so intense. Like, what are you? Like, good lord, man.
Oh,
I'm
dude!
just looking at.
Afterwards,
Yeah.
I stopped by a river and I took my shirt off because I was sweating so much, and I was just laying there looking at the sky, thinking how beautiful the sky was, looking at all the
Hmm.
trees, thinking how beautiful all the trees were.
That
It was
coyote
Yeah,
leaps
almost
out
as
of
if
nowhere.
what was that?
I was gonna say, and a coyote leaps out of nowhere and it grabs your neck.
that'd been
No, and then
funny.
Bigfoot comes and picks me up and runs away.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, yeah,
Tarzan.
but no. After that, I immediately got home. My family was like, "Oh, how was your hike? You know, was it fun? Was it beautiful? Was it scenic?"
Was it
And I have to
traumatic?
say, not a lot happened. I didn't want
Well,
to tell them up front. I didn't want to freak them out, so I was just like, it was uneventful.
uh,
They didn't know. They didn't know for a while. I think I told my brother-in-law that same night, but I didn't tell anybody else because I didn't want to freak my mother out. Because I didn't want her to, lose hair every time I was gonna go hiking again up in the mountains.
see, that's why you always bring a gun.
Yes.
Well, it's a state park, or no, I think it's a national park. I
Y-
can't remember what the. Oh yeah, Pisgah National Forest. Firearms are not allowed there.
Even if you have a
They even have
concealed carry
signs.
permit.
I don't think that stops some locals, but
Ah,
I don't have property myself in North Carolina, and I don't want to be, you know, in the news, where local North Carolina news says this just in: wild Florida man brings entire arsenal onto a hiking trail.
nah,
God.
yeah, no,
Yes.
yeah. I'm just saying, like, if I was in that situation and I, wanted to go hiking somewhere and nobody was around for miles, I'd definitely, be packing in my bag like a small handgun or something like that. Not a full on
Yeah.
rifle, but even if you were to use it, just be for self defense. Worst case scenario, the news channel catches you, and you could be like, "Yeah, no, I was just carrying it for self defense because there's no way I'm out here with just a pocket knife and a, you know, piece of wood."
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I will say that after that event, I hike with bear spray on me at all times. And
Oh
when I'm not
wow.
hiking, I have bear spray in my car in case a crackhead tries to break into my vehicle.
Buddy, you and I need to go shopping for weapons.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Have you had any
Oh
life or
god.
death situations, AJ?
Me? Let's see here.
You went through boot camp.
Uh, boot camp. Well, let's see. I never drowned, so that was good. What has happened to me that has been a life or death situation? I don't think I really have had any, to be honest. I mean, I fell off of a rope when I was climbing one in boot camp, so I mean that kind of hurt, but that wasn't like life or death.
Well,
Oh, I
it
mean,
was
Um,
a fall.
I think I fell like 20 feet.
yeesh.
Oh, that hurts, man. That
Yeah.
really hurts. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
And then what was it? I did get stuck in a wave once. I got caught in a wave because I was young and I was tumbling, and I got stuck tumbling in a wave until I caught myself and like forced myself out of it. And then I think that's the closest like to a life or death situation I had with water.
yeah.
Dude, water's just trying to kill all of us here. I'm
Mhm.
seeing a correlation here.
See
Yeah.
what you did there?
Well,
Correlation.
I
stop.
I wasn't trying to go for that, but yeah, good point.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that one.
Like, can't pull any dad jokes?
Uh, God. Oh man, I don't even know what this is anymore. What are we talking about
I don't know.
again?
We went
Aliens or
from
My
something?
we went from aliens to being drowned by water and being chased by coyotes.
Mhm. Well, we're not
yeah.
being drowned by carbon dioxide, so I think we're doing okay.
One moment you're
Um,
talking about aliens, the next thing you're talking about how you're worried about how coyotes are gonna eat you from the ass up while you're still conscious.
Yeah, that's a pleasant
Those two
experience.
topics are totally something you can morph together, right?
Yeah, let's hope
yeah, sure, yeah.
let's hope we don't have some random like 13-year-old or 12-year-old listening to this and then being like, "What did I just listen to?"
Chaos and insanity. Um,
Well, I did wanna swing it back to Project Bluebook for a
okay,
second because
okay.
the guy I'm already forgetting his name because I lost my notes. Where'd my notes go? Dr. Hankel, is that his name?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when he started to not really believe in alien life, but more in the fact of UFOs being an actual phenomenon and
Mhm,
we don't know what they are and we can't, claim that they're just weather balloons or, you know, orbs or balls of lightning. He was actually all about the research. Like there
mm,
was a point where he was full on into it. It was really funny because he got put in the program and there were a couple people that were heads of the program, and he liked some of them and he didn't like others. So
yeah.
I guess the first one was Ruppelt, who started or was there from the beginning of Project Blue
I
Book,
think he was like
and it
a
was
Pentagon.
Captain.
I think he was part of the Pentagon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but he headed the Blue Book program
Yeah, no one likes
in the
anybody from the
beginning.
Pentagon.
Yeah. Well, it was him, and then it was Captain Hardin, a Captain Gregory,
Yeah.
a Major Friend, and the last guy. I'm gonna screw up his name, but it's Major Hector Quintanilla. I think is how you pronounce that last name.
Quintanilla?
Yeah, it's like Quintanilla.
Oh, I mean,
Quintilia?
yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess that's close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently,
Mm,
apparently this guy he liked Heineck liked the Major Friend. Which is really funny. So he had a friend and Major Friend. Um,
Psh,
there was another guy there, and then apparently one of the guys he just absolutely abhorred. He didn't like him at all. Oh, yeah, I think it was actually Hector Quintanilla was one of the people who didn't like, and he basically said that if he couldn't figure it out himself on what it was, then immediately it just went into the crackpot bin because they had a
yeah.
way of dividing all the different cases of UFO
Mhm.
sightings
Wow.
from the most known. So most known being we can chalk it up to something that we know, like weather balloons
yeah.
or actual aircraft that people just saw from a different angle, to unknown, which is it's not any of those things. It's nothing that we know of that we have in our arsenal of airplanes,
Yeah.
and it's nothing that we know of our adversaries' arsenal as well. So this is going to go in the unknown. And then they had a different category that was literally called the crackpot category.
Damn.
So it was people that was trying to make stuff up to get publicity, or
Mhm.
people that were drunk, looking at the night sky, seeing that, thinking that they saw something, and then later on, one of their friends corroborated, says, "Well, we were 12 beers in at that point at night, so uh, so one of the people that were heads of the program at some point
Mhm.
just immediately said, if I can't see that's clearly an airplane or something that we have, then it's just going to the crackpot bin. Don't care about unknown. Don't care about any of that stuff. It's just going to the crackpot bin." So basically, he was discarding anything that was coming in because
Yeah.
at that point, Project Bluebook was the first time the military took care of people that came forward with sightings. So they had a way of making it easy for military
Mhm.
members that were seeing these sightings above nuclear silos or air bases,
Yeah.
and they didn't have to go through the regular chain of command to get this information from them. Like it was able to be streamlined immediately to Project Bluebook,
Well,
and
yeah,
they didn't
because
have to deal with a bunch of
there was a
scrutiny.
whole reporting system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I just think it's funny how even some people in Project Bluebook were like, "Yeah, I think that guy was high when he saw that. This is going to the crackpot bin."
Man, I think half these people are on drugs, the other guys are drunk, and then this guy's just insane. Like, what's wrong with it? Like, this guy said he saw an upside down E flying through the sky. Like, what?
I saw this
No, like,
triangle lifting up, and I was like, "Bruh."
but through actual research, through at least modern research, we've discovered that objects, they all have the same uniform propulsion, size, and shape. So it's kind of like, um, there's like an actual object. Personally, my opinion, I think they're either angels or demons or something like flitting around through the sky.
Yeah.
And we're managing to detect them because we can just detect crap on all kinds of wavelengths these days. But it could also be like a lot of other things, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's just my perspective, just because of what I believe. But
Yeah, fair enough.
And
mhm,
so I guess now, after talking about all this and seeing where everybody stands on, you know, all the cases that Project Blue Book has brought forward and all that, I'm curious. Have any of you gentlemen had any experiences with seeing UFOs yourself?
ooh, good question.
Oh, I mean, there was that one time I told y'all about the other night. Uh,
Yeah.
Oh
but,
yeah.
there was this also weird there was also this weird experience, earlier this year. There was a,
Mm,
thunderstorm right above my house, and I'm
yeah.
almost certain it was just a glare from the lightning and all that. Um,
Hmm.
but I was, getting in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and, the window right beside my bed, out of the corner of my eye, I see, like, this
Hmm.
weird blue, like, almost like, kinda like a snake-like movement, um, go
Mm,
past, the house after a lightning bolt struck, and
hmm.
I was like, "Okay, yeah, there's no way, it's just gotta be a glare."
Yeah. That's pretty interesting, but I think you're right. I think it's just like the reflection of the lightning,
Yeah.
like maybe in your eye or like off the wall. Who knows?
It was, like, weird
Um,
because it almost looked like a exoskeleton, like, black dots on the, outside and, like
mhm.
a white line on the outer edges and, like, light blue on the inside, but at the same time, like you said, it coulda just been the reflection, from what I saw. I hope it was.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I have no real sightings with aliens. If we want to talk about demons and the things that I've had that I think are those, that's some pretty freaky shit. But we're not going to talk about that right now
Yeah.
because it freaks me
Yeah,
out.
no, we could we could
Um,
definitely, talk about that, later on in the future.
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
different topic, of course. So
Yeah,
AJ, have you ever
supernatural.
experienced a UFO
Ex-
sighting yourself in person?
I cannot say I have. No, I have seen a satellite on a clear night, but I've never seen a
I
UFO.
have as well. I've seen satellites on a clear night, and I know what
Hmm.
satellites are supposed to look like. But I do have one time in my life where I saw a UFO where I couldn't figure out what it was.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
It was early in the day. It wasn't even daytime. It was
mm,
like 5 in the morning. I
right.
got up an hour beforehand to go jogging because I just couldn't sleep
Mm.
for whatever reason. Or no, I went to bed early. I went to bed like
Oh,
super early, like earlier
okay.
than I normally do, which is why I got up at 4 a.m., which I never do.
Yeah.
Um, but I was fully awake and I was energized. I'm like, well, I shouldn't waste this, so I
Mhm.
decided to go out jogging. and I'm jogging outside of my neighborhood, and I decide to finish my jog by, jogging up this one big hill on this golf course that's close to my place, and I'm just sitting on that hill on this starry night. It's 5 a.m. I think to myself, from here, if I just wait another hour, I can see the sunrise, and that'll be cool. I'm never awake to see a sunrise for, the most part of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm looking up these stars, and I'm just trying to figure out where all the constellations are, and I'm looking at this
Mm,
one bunch of stars, and suddenly one of the lights starts moving,
mm.
Whoa,
like it was stationary in the sky, and then it starts moving,
that's weird.
and it was kind of one of the brighter lights. I just thought it was like a close star or something, or like a
Yeah.
planet maybe. It
Mhm.
starts moving, and then it does a 90-degree angle turn and never stops like the same speed it was going beforehand. And I'm following it, like I'm tracking it with my eyes. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, okay, uh, that's not a space station. That's not a satellite. Because first off, if it was a space station or a satellite, it would
Mhm.
have been moving constantly. Dude,
Yeah.
those things are moving like hundreds of miles per hour around orbit. So I'm not
Yeah,
going to see it
they move
stationary.
in one
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah, they move in one direction, and
Mm,
this thing does a 90-degree turn,
mm,
and it's going the same speed as before. And then I'm looking at it, and suddenly it starts to become dimmer and dimmer
mm.
and dimmer, and I'm realizing, oh, it's going farther away.
Huh.
It's going like
Yeah.
way farther away. And I'm following it to the point where it disappears. And at the end of that, I'm looking at the sky, and I'm like, what the heck was that?
That sounds
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I would've seen that.
What if it was do you think based on the movement, it could have been a helicopter with its spotlight on?
no, because I was staring at it for quite a while, and usually like when helicopters turn around, you can see like the lights on the
Mm,
back of it, like the blinking
Yeah.
lights. There was no blinking light. It was the same brightness as the stars, almost a little bit brighter,
yeah.
and it never changed in brightness,
Huh.
no matter what type of maneuver it did.
Mm,
And it only started getting dimmer when it was going up further,
Yeah.
like further away from orbit,
dang.
Oh,
is what I can say.
that's weird.
And that's the only time I've ever experienced UFO. And again, it's an unidentified flying object. I'm
Yep.
not gonna say it's aliens. I don't know what it is. For all I know, it could be like the new like top secret military project that they're working on right now,
Yeah, who
which I have
knows?
no idea. So
Yeah, to me, it's just was it unidentified aerial phenomena? I'm gonna go with that because I think it's probably some weird atmospheric stuff that we don't understand, to be honest.
Yeah.
quite possibly. Well, with all that said, this is a nice chat, gentlemen. I had
Yeah.
fun doing this with you.
Mhm.
So, well, that is going to be all for this time here at Bar Talk. Uh, Tune again next time when we talk about God knows what else. Could be more UFO stuff. Could be more
Or AJ's
topics
demons.
about how water's trying to kill everybody. Who
Mhm.
knows?
All right. Well, see you guys later.
All right. Peace out.
Adios.
Bye.